Cane pruning is a very common way to prune vines in cool climates, and especially here in Oregon. Most of our vineyards are cane pruned just like this. This is before we would do dormant pruning in the winter. And what I'm going to show you today is how to do cane pruning for the intent to change to spur pruning. So this vine right here grew the shoots from the cane that was laid down last year. It's already been, the initial pruning cuts were made right here on the 1-year-old cane. Now actually would be 2 years old at this point. And then all of these grew last year. So a cut here to remove this initial cane that was laid down, and then another cut up here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these from the canopy and the catch wires. The important part with making that transition from a cane prune system to a cordon trained spur prune system will look a lot like your cane pruning. But the difference is that you're selecting your canes that will become the cordon in the following year. So you're essentially cane pruning with a more deliberate approach to cane selection. And as I'm removing this cane, you'll see in cane pruning systems, you'll normally wrap the cane around a couple times so it stays secure on the training wire. But when we cordon train and spur prune, we want to avoid doing that, in part because the cordon will eventually grow into that training wire right here. So now we have a number of canes that are here at the head. And in pruning, we always want to come back to this head of the plant, or the head of the top of the trunk. But we also have to look where our training wire is. So here's our training wire, and we've got a number of different selections here. When it comes to specifically choosing a location for our cordon, we want it to be below this training wire by about 3 to 6 inches, probably 4 to 8 inches, depending on what flexibility you have with your pruning. But you basically always want it below so you can bring it up and train it along this wire. Therefore, these top ones basically are no good, so we'll remove those. And there's two options here, and it really comes down to, again, placement and direction for training onto the wire. These aren't absolutely ideal, but it'll work for this example. We're looking at producing 2 cordons for a bilateral cordon spur pruned vine. And one of the key things to remember when laying down the canes for your cordon is that you can wrap it around the wire, but this is only going to be done for 1 year. So this can happen in this next growing season. It can grow, but do not affix it with a permanent rubber band or twist tie. You'll have to come back next winter and remove it once it's more lignified so that it doesn't grow around this training wire and then girdle itself. Same is true over on this end. I'll just show for an example. We can cut off the laterals too. It'll look a lot like your cane pruning. Laying it on that wire, well, you wouldn't want to break it, but laying it on that wire, wrapping around just once. In some cases, people may prefer not to wrap at all, and you just put a rubber band or flexible band over here at the end. But you just want to be able to place your cordons well with the coming back next season and removing it or untwisting it from that training wire and ensuring that you have better placement over time. So again, we want to have it below our training wire by at least 3 to 6 or 4 to 8 inches, and then trained along that training wire by wrapping around once or lightly, and then removing that wrap the following year.